Okay, so when last we left off, Barry, Oodle, Nithlia, and Ayland got into a tangle of vines, sorting out a Witherbloom pledge mage who had gotten ensnared by one of the vines unexpectedly. After freeing them, uh, they offered their thanks, uh, passed you a few items in gratitude, and went along their way. Shortly after, the teacher returned, thanking you for or apologizing for having to step away, and you guys resumed your orientation with a bit of a begrudging annoyance as the orientation had kind of begun to crawl along. She showed you a couple of the student um, extracurricular areas, as well as the student council, before finishing the tour and setting you off on a scavenger hunt. You guys managed to successfully complete all 5 of the scavenger hunts that each of you had obtained 1 clue for, and were able to acquire the rewards for each person. Um, After that, you guys had found yourselves here at the stage where the last clue had brought you, obtained the lanterns that were your reward for completing the scavenger hunt, when a sound came from the southwest that one of the costume's trunks is now alive and chasing down the student body. Uh, the 5 of you can see towards the southwest a large group of students are beginning to flee out of the building towards the south. Uh, okay, I'm sorry, I had to step away there for my dog. Okay, so is there any reaction anybody wants to start with first?
So, like, from where we are, we're watching someone get chased by something?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna pull it up here. Why is this not working here? Uh, why is it? What's going on here? Get out of here. There we go. Okay. Everybody can see their characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so to the south, down in this direction here, you can see that there is uh, a bunch of students heading first out this way towards the middle, and then running south, and they're running basically from each direction. Now that they've seen this mimic, they're just kind of making their way out. It's a large throng of students that were seated at the various tables, rifling through books, um, but you have not yet seen any sign of this like costume trunk that is threatening everyone. But what you guys can tell is when you guys look around, you can see a bunch of the various teachers that are here for the orientation are trying to help like placate the student body, but none of them, due to just the sheer amount of students, are able to really get towards this trunks location. They're like you can tell that a lot of them are hyper focused on like getting the students to safety first. Um, That's kind of where we stand right now.
So we don't see what's actually chasing it, or do we actually see
No,
it
you
from
don't.
this perspective?
You can just see that from uh, the B8 area, which is a little bit to the southwest, which is where all the like tables are gathering, or where people were seated reading and studying. Like the students started bolting from there first, and then as students realized something was going on, the other students began to flee from other areas. Um, like some of the students jumped off the stage, ran past the Hall of Oracles, and like have run south just to try and get away from and following the general like rush of students. Give me a second. Sorry, dog.
He also has that shirt too.
Oodle
Now I
grabs the
know where
dog.
she got that shirt.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. Oh, Ruben's not in Roll20 yet. I noticed. Did you want me to wait for you to get into Roll20 there, Ruben?
I should be in. Is it not showing up?
Maybe I need to refresh. Maybe that's what it is. It was showing Nithlia and Aland, but not Rubinium. Oodle. That's the word.
Yes.
No, I'm still not seeing Oodle. But if as long as you're in, you can see what I've been doing, Oodle. That's perfectly fine. Okay, I can see that you're rolling there. Weird. Not sure why your name's not showing up, but
Yeah.
should be all good. Okay, so you can see here. I'll just draw a.
Thank you.
So like the students have basically begun to make a run out from here, but you can tell that the like majority of it started over in this direction. Like it started over in this direction somewhere. What do you guys do?
Right. So where are the teachers trying to herd the cattle, as it were?
The students and the teachers are basically funneling everyone out the front doors down towards the south. You can see at least a few like much taller, like older, like a couple elves. You can see a couple with like witherbloom drapery.
Actually, I wasn't.
Sorry, what's that?
Sorry, nothing.
Okay. So you can see that like there's a couple witherbloom teachers. There's a silver quill teacher, and it looks like at least in this area through the Hall of Oracles, there is a large Loxodon who's like acting as a big signpost as he's like used a scroll that's like illuminated and is basically like acting as like a giant emergency exit sign. And so like students are like flocking to him and then running south towards safety.
Are we hearing screams from anywhere other than the children running away?
You don't hear any screaming beyond the mimic that you guys or the you don't hear any screaming other than like general like panic from the student body. Um, the screaming started to the southwest of you from where you guys are, but right now it's just kind of everybody's in a mass panic. You guys are getting like jostled as like people are running by you to make their way out.
But we do see the mimic.
You do not. It's
Do
somewhere
not.
to the
We do not.
southwest.
Okay, it's somewhere in the southwest, and we see a whole bunch of people from school.
From all directions, they're just running past everyone, just trying to get to the south exit as quick as they can.
Oh.
But nobody's addressing
Nah.
the problem of the actual mimic. Somebody just shouted, "The costume trunk is alive, it's gonna eat us," and just started bolting. And then everybody kind of followed suit. There we go.
What a bunch of sheep.
Can I
Oh,
do
wait.
like a perception check to like look around and try to find it maybe
Sure,
from
yeah,
where I
absolutely.
am? Okay. Hold on. There. 10? Question mark?
Yeah. So, looking around, you take stock of not necessarily the student body, because you kind of recall from when you guys were in um, the Prismari little like art room, that like a bunch of the costume trunks and stuff that were there were about maybe 2 or 3 feet tall. So most of the student body, especially with the fact that they're like packing in towards the south, it's really hard to see a creature that small. But what you are noticing is that a lot of the teachers are, from what you can see, like they are mostly keeping everybody away from the west side. Um, Even if they're not necessarily directing them southwards, they're just trying to make sure people stay away from the west side of the building. So it would probably be a good idea to start heading in that direction if you wanted to locate the creature.
Well, actually, running to the west wouldn't be a bad idea, just to make sure that other students haven't been left behind or are cornered by whatever thing that this thing is. If we go straight across to the west, we can go past all those bookcases and peer down each one of those alleys before we get out. Personally, at least, that's what I would say. Anyone else?
I just kind of blue screened for a moment. What happened? My brain kind of like froze,
You
and I
you
wasn't able to
you
think
saw
in
that
English.
teachers are trying to keep people away from the west side of the building.
Okay.
You didn't see the trunk, but what you do know is that the trunks that you saw in the art room are only about 3 foot tall, so you wouldn't be able to make them out in a crowd. Um, but because the teachers are like, stay away from the west, head south if you want to leave. You're getting a general idea that it's somewhere to the west, and if you wanted to head in that direction, you'd be more likely to find it.
Okay. We'll go west.
And then Ayland was saying like maybe we should go ahead and check down the aisles of bookcases, and that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, just to make sure there's there's nothing but children here. I mean, really, they're gonna.
Bookcases wouldn't be a bad idea, but I also wouldn't want someone to bump into one and then all of a sudden we have a crazy domino effect and they're all landing all over us.
I think these bookcases are like massive in terms of.
I have no
They'd
idea.
be-
Are they massive? Are they huge?
Yeah, so I didn't necessarily give them a great description because we didn't really spend too much time on them. The bookcases themselves are 30 feet tall, five
Oh.
5 foot thick.
Oh.
They carry tomes of various sizes. Some only a foot wide for like an actual book cover. Some of them
okay.
big, thick, like encyclopedic tomes that have like old and withered with age. But yeah, these are giant, massive bookcases, which is why you guys' vision is so obscured.
Okay.
Well, I think You guys can leave right now. I just gotta double check, see if there's anyone down these passages here, and if not, we'll get out before getting in trouble ourselves with whatever this beast may be.
So.
Barry nods and offers to to head with you. Oodle, is there anything you would like to do?
His mic's shut off right
Oh,
now.
is it? Okay. Then we will. Then Nithlia, you were saying?
I will follow behind them,
Okay.
but I'm weary.
Okay.
So I'll just
Stay a little bit
be
farther
here.
back. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just be like right here.
Sounds good.
Then I'll be like rather cautious.
For sure. Okay. Croak just kind of falls in alongside Barry, and he stands in front of you, Nithlia. Just watchful. You can tell he's still kind of keeping an eye out for teachers, but is otherwise just kind of followed in with the rest of the group. But Ayland, it looks like most of the rest of the group are following you right now. You're just
All right. Well, I'll keep heading down to the point where I can start seeing down these aisleways and see if there's anything I can perceive in this point. Yeah, so I keep moving west until I can see something, or until somebody until we have the all clear.
Okay. So you peer down the first bookcase alleyway, which now you notice is like devoid of students. What were 30, 40 students at one time going down this seemingly narrow hallway and taking books off the shelves is now completely empty, save for like a couple papers that still float towards the ground from the top shelves, a couple books that have been overturned, and a couple that have just been laid scattered upon the ground, opened, their contents visible. But no sign of the mimic thus far.
Good. Keep heading to the west and just to make sure that we are not dealing with any stray students. Oh, am I seeing something to the... See something peeking out from the edge there? Is that a person? I'm not sure.
You can make it out from this distance. You're seeing like a large, like cogwork, brass arm that's like grabbing these books that have fallen down and is like stacking them back on the top shelf. Its arms
right,
like
the construct.
Yeah, you can see like its legs like separate and like extend to reach the necessary height. Like it's maybe like 10 foot tall normally, but like its leg separates into three pieces as it expands up, um, bringing it maybe like 15, 20 feet tall, and then its like arm like extends like a almost like an Inspector Gadget toy, just like expands out and just plunks the book on the top shelf, and then like shrinks back down to its normal size and begins like collecting more of the books and literature.
He doesn't seem worried, even if he worries.
Barry just kind of keeps an eye down the previous hallway to make sure the creature didn't double back while you were passing by.
Yeah, I'll keep moving down.
Okay.
Unless anyone has any other bright ideas at this point, I'm just...
Since we're next to one of the cute little mini gardens.
Okay, yeah.
Nithlia's gonna move over there and she's kind of gonna brace herself for whatever's about to happen.
Okay.
Because at least she'll have plants to help.
Sure.
In the situation. So
okay.
I'm gonna move her like
Go for
here.
it. Sounds good. Okay, so you can see now like the Cogwork Archivist in like its full size now is as it's like finishes expanding, it like shrinks back down. Ayland, I was going to mention, as you pass by the middle bookcase, you can see almost directly south is a weird looking bazaar here, and I'm just going to pull it down so you can see it a little better.
Oh, I see there.
It's currently like jumped up on one of the tables and is like gnawing on a book that a student left behind, and is like
Okay.
pulls it into its mouth and like licks its lips, and then like
Ew.
jumps off the table off to the side, and is like, you can see like a couple students who were terrified, like as it was eating the book, like get up from their desk as soon as it hops off and just start sprinting towards the southeast.
And is it giving chase?
It looks like, make a perception check for me.
Oh, this will be bad. See. Oh, yeah. 9.
You, yeah, it was a critical on the other roll.
Yeah.
If no better way to say it than, I don't have a better way to put it. You can see that like the trunk is like generally following the student body, but seems more focused on just like chowing down on whatever it happens to run into next. And that might be the reason most of the students have been safe so far, because you're noticing like there's giant bite marks out of like every table you've seen down these aisles, and like books that are like half chewed or like half eaten are like laying on the ground like half open. As this, it's a 3-foot tall wooden chest.
Where is it on the map and relative to where we are now?
Your character can't see it at the moment because you're not quite in the right perspective, but it's somewhere down this aisle, as Ayland has signaled that it.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Yep. But like you can see Nithlia like down this aisle, more down this way here, where your character can see. Like you can see that the table has a giant chunk just.
I'm not like asking for that. I'm more so just like, now that we've moved, I just don't know where it is. So I'm just trying to imagine this scene in my head. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. So Ayland, you've spotted it. What do you do?
It doesn't look like it's going after anyone yet. Still want to take a look down the other aisleways and make sure there's nothing, and no other kids lost down this way or nothing.
Okay.
Before or
Barry
panicking and hidden in space.
Barry nods and he starts heading down, looking down the aisles for other students. And you can see as he like peeks down 2 different aisles, he looks back to you and shakes his head. Oh, it looks like it's been deserted.
Okay, good. Well, let's why don't we get out of here then? Because I don't want to deal with that thing if we can avoid it. But at least we know that there's no one trapped in these sections right now. Ithia?
Yes.
Why don't we head out? the teachers are leading us out. Let's just do that now. Don't want to get trapped if we don't have to.
I wouldn't necessarily say we're gonna get trapped, but
well, you never know.
I don't know what a box is gonna do to trap us.
How about block our passage so we can't get by it?
I don't think it's smart enough.
We'll find out. Let's get going. Sorry, always think of the worst. It makes life worth living.
What? What? Always think of the worst. It makes life worth living.
Yeah.
Am I?
And Aelin, like as you guys are beginning to head uh, towards the south, you're noticing that it's running out of objects to chow down on. It's currently like gnawing on one of the tables, um, and you can see that most of the chair legs have been like gnawed off. Um, and the students now have mostly evacuated, but the teachers are now like spread out looking for any straggling students to ensure the creature doesn't get to any more.
What do you mean, like us? The straggling students. All right. I say, I can see it. Can I see it from where I am? I know I can
Yeah.
see it.
Oh yeah, for
visually,
sure.
but
Yeah, you can just right now you're seeing like a table half shoved into a treasure chest, and this treasure chest is just like its lid is opening, closing, and like the table shrinks a little bit. It opens again. You see the table like fall in further, and it's just chowing down.
All right. Well, try and get past it, I guess, at this point. Seems to be moving in our general direction.
Barry nods, says, "Well, I'll follow your lead at this point. If you think that's the safest way out of here."
I never said that. I'm looking for options, people.
Let's fucking kill it.
That's an
I
option.
think we should go fight it. I agree.
Croak turns to you, Oodle, and notes your general. You looking all right there, Oodle?
Yeah, I kick Croak in the shin and I run towards the chest.
Okay. Go for it.
What I would like to do, and let me know how this works out, Ryan, but what I'd like to do is kind of run towards it, not all the way,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to use my momentum to launch a chaos bolt at the chest.
Okay. Yeah. So you can move for your turn, which your movement is 30 feet, so you can move 6 squares, and then you can use your attack action to cast a spell, which it would be your chaos bolt. So go ahead and move your squares. You should be able to select your character, and then you can move using the directional of the D-pad, the arrow keys. If you're having issues, I can move you as well. You just have to kind of ping where you want to.
I think I'm having some issues with my guy. Could you move him down? But awesome. And then do I just roll for chaos?
Yeah, so you'll go to your character sheet. Do you remember how to open that?
Yeah, I should have it.
Okay. So when you open your character sheet, there's going to be a specific tab under the character sheet area that says spells. And then once you're under the spells area, there's going to be one that says Chaos Bolt. And if you click the name, perfect. Okay, so did you click the speech bubble or did you click the name? Just curious.
Did it not go through?
Well, it gave me the description because I think you clicked the speech bubble. But if you click the actual name of the spell, I believe it asks you what kind of roll you're making. Just like that. You've now. Are you still accessing this on your phone or on a laptop?
You're working on the computer.
Yeah, somehow you've selected the speech bubble but not the actual word.
The cast boat popped up. Oh no, it was you who did
That was
that.
me that
Okay.
clicked that, yeah, because I was just testing to make sure I wasn't losing my mind.
Okay.
But yeah, when you click the speech bubble, it'll give me the description, but if you click the name, I'm not sure how else to. You might be able to go back to your other tab that says core. It looks like Chaos Bolt is there as well. So if you click that, it should bring up a thing that says, is it a public role or whisper role? And you can just hit submit because it's public role. Whoop, look at me critting. Stealing the good rolls. Gotta stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't need a
public role.
repeat of the other time.
What's that?
We don't need a repeat of your 6
Sorry, Ruben.
natural 20s.
Yeah. Ruben, what was that?
You said it's like public role or whisper role, right? It says public role.
Yeah, and then hit submit.
Oh.
Oh.
Why it's not?
Oh, okay. You're still selecting the speech bubble. God, I wish I had a better way to explain it. The name of the spell should highlight differently from the speech bubble. And if you click on the name of the spell, it should pop up that same question. And then if you just hit submit, it should cast the spell. Oh, interesting. Why is that? No, see, that did it. No, and that worked. Again, I rolled really well. Jesus. There it is.
There we are.
You got
Yay!
it. Nice.
I
And
really
nice roll.
didn't do anything different that time. I don't know.
I don't know. It must have, for whatever reason, been touching the wrong part of it. I don't know why. Okay, so you roll a Chaos Bolt. It does strike the creature for 13 damage. Okay.
What kind of damage, though?
Yeah, it's true.
I think it's in the C text portion.
Yes. Let me just take a look here. The damage rolled. Oh yeah, you choose one of the d8s. So, you can choose either 5 or 2, and that will determine the type of damage. If you choose 5, it is lightning damage, and if you choose 2, it is cold damage. What damage do you want it to be, Oodle?
Is wood insulating?
Not really.
Yeah, not really, but kinda, somewhat, maybe. Depends on the wood.
I wonder if it's flammable.
Frost damage.
Okay. So you hit it with cold damage, and you watch as it strikes, and while at first you wouldn't think that the cold damage would do anything of note, you're noticing that like small patches along the chest are like freezing upon it. But the like leathery, the leather covered wooden chest like recoils from being struck, and it's like its lid just like flops over, and then like slops back on top. As you realize now, like it wasn't looking at you at first, but these two like I want to say like dollar-sized eyes glare at you, and its like tongue runs along the lid, and then it like begins to hobble towards you. What are the rest of you guys doing?
Well,
I
that
click
got its attention.
Can I like run up behind him since the trunk is coming towards him and then cast my sacred flame?
Absolutely.
On fire.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So move
Alright,
the same
so
way.
me-
Move the same way he did. So she's perfect.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah.
And oof.
Okay, so it needs to make a DC 9 dexterity save.
Yeah. Well, because it's based off for wisdom. Right?
Yeah.
So.
No, I could have swore I'd set it up for
So
a different thing, but oh no, that's right. Her character's wisdom isn't the great. That's right. Okay, nope, that's fine.
Do I click this dexterity then?
No, you're fine.
No,
Oh,
it's he has to make the save or not.
Yeah, my character has to make the mimic has to make the save. So the costume trunk goes to make its save. And it barely saves. So like you cast Sacred Flame, the flame roars by, and maybe like just the way it's like bouncing along the marble stone, the spell just barely whips past, and it unfortunately doesn't strike through. It's barely missing.
right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Almost had it. Ayland, what would you like to do?
I guess we're fighting this thing. All right. I will move forward to be there. I can still see the box on the ground. Strange we're fighting a box, but that's fine.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh. Where my character got lost here for a second. Do I recall, when I look at at Oodle, was he injured last time? Is that why we're?
Yeah, he's in really bad shape.
Yeah. Okay. I can't do much in terms of actual.
He kicked Croak in the shin when Croak asked him if he was still okay, but
yeah.
So gold. I'm sorry, I just think it's so funny.
You know, the Oodle, the bit works better when Dustin's here. It doesn't work so great when it's me.
That's why it's like, fuck you for not being here. Kick you in the shin.
All right.
Hey, asshole. Oh, Jesus.
I love the idea that it's, by the way, you might need an exorcism based on the sounds I was just hearing. Yeah, I just imagine it's like, okay, Dustin, well, we finished our session. Here's a link to our third episode so you can like see what happened and get yourself caught up. And he'll be like, why were you guys so mean to my character? I don't understand what he did wrong.
Well, because then what I'm going to do is I will get behind Oodle and I'll put my hand on him and cast heroism on him. So it will. So actually, I'll put the speech bubble up for you so you can see it.
I was gonna say awesome.
There you go.
All right, Oodle. What does your sense of bravery look like?
At first, it's not bravery because big, strong hands just shoulders. Well, he's got burn scars all over.
He's not strong.
A small, frail hand.
That's right. Yeah.
Frail hand.
Okay. This white, long, sort of spindly hand goes over your shoulder and taps you.
Oh, it's even scarier for Oodle at first.
Skeleton. Oh no, human.
Guys!
Geist. A dead
Uh,
guy.
So yeah, so as you can read, the until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened and gains temporary hit points equal to my spell casting ability modifier, which is 5 at this point.
So Oodle, if you click on your character on the map, you should see that there's like 3 bubbles that pop up: red, green, and blue. If you want to put in
Yeah.
your temporary hit points into the red bubble, that's usually what I do to track temporary hit points.
It is temporary hit points of 5 at the beginning of each of his turns. So if he gets knocked down, let's say he loses all 5, the next round he gets another 5.
Yep. But it will not stack,
Wait,
so you won't get...
I click the
It
bubble?
does not stack, no.
Yeah, so you click the bubble and you can type in whatever number. In this case, for the red, you'll... So you...
Like the token?
Yeah, so tap your token. You should see 3 bubbles pop up above it or below it, depending on how your thing's set up. And there should be a red bubble. It's like a little red, or it's a red circle with a black dot. If you select that, you should be able to type in a number into that. If you're having trouble, I can put it in. That's not an issue. I just...
5.
Yep. There we go. Perfect.
And then
You got it.
For my bonus action, I will inspire Nithlia.
Okay.
So say, okay, we got this. Shouldn't be a problem. Just aim true and where everything's good.
Okay, so she's got a bardic inspiration from you. Is that?
Yeah. So it's a D6 that can be added to any
attack roll or saving throw. Yeah.
Or saving throw. Yeah.
Sweet. Perfect. Because I have an idea.
Okay. All right. So Croak's gonna run forward for his turn, and that's as far as he can move. He does have a ranged ability, I think. Yeah. So you see him like run by you guys, pulls out his hand axe, looks for any sign of teachers, and then hooks the hand axe at the trunk.
Does it land?
We're gonna find out. 17 does hit for 5 slashing. So you just see this decently sized hand axe. Maybe it's like a foot tall with a 6-inch stone blade on it. You just hear it like thud right into the top of the trunk, and you hear the telltale sound of leather as it rips from the axe burying itself in there. The trunk is looking in quite bad shape compared to what it was a little earlier. And all you hear from behind you guys is the sound of a crossbow both winding up and then a thunk as it fires out from Barry's crossbow.
Barry has a crossbow?
Yep. Which does not hit. Perhaps he was scared of hitting one of you because you couldn't get any closer, but the bolt thunk hits into the table leg beside the trunk. And you hear the telltale sound of the winding of the crossbow as he reloads. The trunk is going to move forward and is going to make an attack at Croak.
We'll laugh slightly.
I want to use my thorn whip.
Okay.
To hit this bitch.
It will be your turn after he finishes. So.
Okay.
Sorry, it'll be Oodles and then your turn based on.
Okay. I wasn't actually sure what the order was.
No worries.
Yeah,
normally we roll initiative, but you guys are still in. It's one enemy and there's only 3 of you other than myself, so it's easy enough for me to keep track of who's in what order.
Okay.
And since the mimic rolled terrible for initiative, it's just easier to have you guys all go and then have it go. Okay, so it is going to lash out with its pseudopod, which misses Croak as the hello.
The what?
Sorry, somebody turned all the lights out. Uh, thank you.
Didn't realize you were home.
Well, no, it was more she turned out a light, not realizing she had turned out the other light previously. So when she turned it out, she did. I didn't. Anyway, we're all good.
There she is.
I was just like, excuse me, it's dark in here. It's spooky, and we're fighting a trunk. Um, yeah. So you see, like at first, this like leather-bound wooden chest. Like there's like very obvious signs of like teeth around the edges of the lid now that it's super close, and like there seems to be like a tongue inside the trunk. But what catches you off guard is like one of the handles all of a sudden turns into like a really elastic purple whip and just whoosh, lashes out at Croak. But Croak barely just ducks out of the way as it like recoils. Um, and then
Oodle, correct.
what's that?
It's Oodle's turn?
Yeah, I'm just making sure it doesn't have any more attack rolls.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Nope, that's it. Okay. Yeah, Oodle, it is your turn.
Okay, so after seeing Croak almost get whipped by that, Oodle gets installed with this almost brotherly love that he feels out of nowhere. He doesn't know where it came from, but it's coming from somewhere. And he says to the chest, "Hey, are you Bjork? Because I got mail for you." And he's gonna throw acid splash at
Okay. So you're going to throw an axe at it. You said
Acid splash, I think.
Oh, acid splash. Okay. So yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, there it is.
Perfect.
Did that go through?
Yep. That came up
Nice.
perfectly. All right.
Thank you.
That means it's another dexterity save, which it fails and takes 1 acid damage. So Oodle, what does your acid splash spell look like when you cast acid splash?
I'm gonna say it doesn't really look like splash until it gets right to the face.
Okay.
And then it just kind of into the face.
Okay. So you cast acid splash and you watch as this like strikes the trunk like full on, and then a moment later it's almost as if like throwing water on a dry pavement, the on like a hot summer pavement or on the street. It's just the acid just seems to like soak in and disappears.
Like disappear in a good way or a bad way? Like
It
into
looks like
him, or
almost like
just...
water absorbing into skin.
Oh. Well, Oodle's gonna flip him off.
Understandable. But you can see, like, at first you maybe think that the spell may have failed or something, but you can see, like, on the ground where, like, some small amounts of spray, like, hit the ground, there are, like, small holes that are bored into the ground a little bit before the acid, like, wore off. So the spell did take effect. It just, the trunk seemed extraordinarily resilient to acid. But
It might be all the ice I covered him in.
It is now your turn.
Mine?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So I'm trying to whip this bitch.
Okay. So you're casting Thorn Whip, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Are you familiar with how to cast well, perfect. I was going to ask if you needed any help with the spells, but perfect. Okay, so you roll a 5, which is not great. So the whip goes to whip by Aelin. What is your bardic inspiration die again?
It's a D6.
Okay. Even at a max bardic inspiration, it misses. So we're just not going to have you roll it. But yeah, like maybe it's because the acid splash like caught you off guard, and you thought like it would show signs of wear and tear from the acid, but like it seems completely fine. So when you whip it to see what happens next, it just like closes its lid, causing the whip to crack overhead, and then it like tumbles forward, um, moving a little bit closer, but the attack seems to have missed. Did you have any bonus actions you wanted to take, Nithlia? Did you want to move at all?
I wanted to be, well, here.
You want to move there? Okay. I don't know if your character has any bonus actions. I'm just asking.
Well, I don't even know where they would be. I don't know if I do.
No worries. Some spells are cast as a bonus action. Some abilities.
I can't remember what they are. Yeah. Some of them, I know some of them are bonus action. I just gotta remember which ones.
Yep. You'd probably just have to give them a read. If you click the little under your spell list, if you click the little circle with an eye in it, it'll give you a description of all the spells without casting them. Feel free to look for one that says casting time one bonus action, and that would be an example of one. And if you do find one, let me know. I'll just give Aelin an opportunity to go while you take a look. Aelin, what do you do?
Well, I guess seeing it used in the past with my previous foray with the plants earlier, Aelin will do a vicious mockery on this beast and see if it'll hold true or not. Let's see. I'll just do that for you so you can see. Yep. And
wisdom save. What is your?
Oh, I didn't click I'll click the name. Hold on. There you go.
Thank you.
Whoa! One psychic damage.
Oh boy! All right.
Everyone's rolling low today, boys and girls.
Yep. It fails. So
okay. Woohoo!
So like as you viciously mock it with your magic.
Well, I basically say, "Is that a little bit of rust on your hinges?" That's all I say.
You speak the words, and like at first you see it like hesitate, as if like the words sink in, and then like it goes back to its like chattery like you get the impression it's almost like a happy-go-lucky like it's got like an infectious joyousness to it. But it does look like
it's living its best life. You're trying to say?
Yeah, it's having the time of its life. Okay. Croak is going to make a melee attack at the trunk now that it tried to lash at him. So he's gonna pulls out his greatsword after having tossed his hand axe aside. As a bonus action, he pulls out his greatsword and he takes a cut down at the chest, which is a 20. I'm rolling pretty great today. For 6 slashing damage. Okay. And you watch as the sword like embeds itself in the top of the lid, and then he pulls it out, and you can see a very obvious like opening where there should be an open gap that shows the inside of the lid. There's instead like this purple membrane that looks to be like more of the mimic's like true true like detail. And shortly thereafter, Barry follows up with a. Well, I mean, this is just a cantrip, so he's gonna cast Eldritch Blast, and hope he hits, and he does for 5 force damage. And you can see like, so the sword hits, and then all of a sudden just a blast of force crashes into the trunk, and it rolls back before standing back upright. But it like the hinges creak and groan. Its tongue is now like lolling out of its mouth. Its joyous excitement has very visibly dissipated. But it is going to make an attack at Croak and is trying to bite him. Ang. Oh! Okay. That was almost a crit.
Oh.
Yeah, so this time, like, as Croak, like, buried his greatsword in and the blast, like, hits the mimic back, it, like, rolls back, and then, like, as it springs forward, it goes for Croak's hands. And you see it like clasp around his hands, and he like shrieks out as like all of a sudden you just see him like stagger and like just drops to his knees as Croak takes 7 piercing and 4 acid damage.
Oh Jesus! Hold on here. Sorry, it's new. I'm trying to read something here.
Yep.
I'm going to. Can I cast Silvery Barbs right now?
Silvery Barbs is a.
It's
you
a
have to give
first
me a
level
thing here.
Oh, sure. I'll show you right now.
It's a reaction.
It's a reaction.
It has to be. Oh, okay. Creature. Okay. Turn its. Creature must reroll the d20 and use lower roll. Okay. So we will have. Okay. So
a reroll. So it might not.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do another reroll. Yep.
Yeah.
It wasn't a critical. It was like damn close, but.
Okay. I know, but it's still.
Yeah. No.
The fact that it took him down.
Yep. Okay, and that's a critical failure. Nice.
Okay. And the
so you see like you may Aelin, describe to me what it looks like as you have like this moment of like Croak's gonna get caught unawares, and
I'm seeing the moment just before it or as it's happening, and I release I basically just say no, and as that happens, a sort of ripple of images sort of flicker between like possibilities.
Okay.
Sort of like a prismatic shift almost in terms of the way that an edge of an image is cutting through the air.
Right.
And what takes hold is this new possibility.
Okay. So yeah, you guys see like Croak like swings down with his greatsword, pulls it back out. We see the blast hit the costume trunk, and for a moment, like all of you blink as you see like the mimic's like hands like clasp down on Croak's you see the costume trunk's like mouth clasp down on Croak's hands like unexpectedly. But Croak, hearing your words, Aelin, manages to like just barely move his hands out of the way. Who are you giving your advantage to?
I will give the advantage to Nithlia, actually, because she's the closest to Croak.
Okay. So Oodle, it is your turn.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Just spell slot.
Yeah.
So I used Chaos Bolt, and then that means it's a spell slot.
So Chaos Bolt is a first level spell, I believe. I'm just double checking your character
Yes.
sheet. So the way it works is you have 2 spell slots total of first level right now. This is partially why I asked how you prefer to keep track, whether you wanted to have 2 and reduce the number of spell slots remaining, or if you wanted to count up to 2. But you had 0, but you had said previously you wanted to count up, so you've used 1 spell slot, which means you still have 1 first level spell slot remaining that you can use to cast Magic Missile, with a Chaos Bolt, or Speak with Animals.
And
then
then
after that,
And then after
there's
that,
still the free action one from
there's still your
from
cantrips
school.
and stuff. Yeah. And then
Well, there's the
and then your Speak with Animals is a once per day ability that you can use, or once per long rest, I should say. So that's separate of your spell slots, if you want it to be.
and that's the one I used for Silvery Barbs just
Okay.
now. Just let
Yep.
you know.
Perfect. Just make sure to jot that down.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, if I cast Magic Missile right now, then I'd be out of spell slots for the rest of this session? Or
Until you take a long rest.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Udo's gonna cast Magic Missile then.
Okay. So, you deal a guaranteed amount of damage, as the Magic Missile has no attack roll. So it deals 4 force damage. Oodle, how do you defeat the costume trunk? What does the Magic Missiles look like, and how do you hit it in such a way that it just like goes inert?
I'd say they all appear as kind of like spears, almost like silvery, quick spears that are moving at the speed of light. Just see them, and you just see where they're going.
Okay.
One would hit the chest right in the face. The other one would hit him right in the back, and then the last one just right under the legs into the crotch, and kind of like comical,
Of a
almost
chest?
kicking it upside between the legs. Yeah.
Okay. So we like see
Like
it turn
him
into a
wrestle
human for a
crotch.
moment, and then get hit in all those locations, and then it turns back into a trunk.
Yeah, you
Actually,
see
it'd
it.
be the hasp flap. It's
Yeah, you clapped his hasp, that's for sure.
Oh my god.
Essentially, yeah. And then there's just like a quick little flash of everyone.
Okay. Yeah, so a moment later, you like these silver spears strike the trunk, and we see like that moment, and then the trunk, like you see the eyes, they close, the purple membrane like dissipates, and you can now see what is very visibly a very battered trunk with no sign of what had turned it into a mimic in the first place.
So it's just back to normal now? Question mark.
Would you like to make an investigation check?
Yeah. Okay.
well, she has advantage on that roll if she wants to use it. And you can use your bardic inspiration.
Because you're inspecting on whether it's still magical or not. Make an Arcana check actually, with advantage. So.
Let me find it. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
Here.
So 17 was their best roll. Okay. Okay. So you notice immediately that there, upon the trunk, it does seem to be devoid now of magical nature. You can see upon it that there is an insignia for the Rose stage, which is odd because normally there are equipment managers who keep an eye on these trunks to make sure that nothing of this kind of thing happens. And from your Arcana check, and based on how successful you are, what you do take note of is that the areas that had been frozen by Oodle's spell actually seems to be like a black, oily substance that was like rubbed onto the leather. There's small traces of it left. There's not a whole lot, but it doesn't seem to be magical anymore. But there is like this black oily substance. And as you guys are looking over this creature, or what was this creature, a teacher comes hurrying over. As you see, she's like finishes escorting the last of the students out the southern doors. She turns around to see that you guys have actually defeated the creature and hurries over. You can see she's wearing the robes of a silver quill professor. Specifically, she's wearing the light golden insignia of a radiance professor. It is a... I know the token doesn't look like it. This is just the silver quill teacher token, so I apologize in advance. She is an owlin, so she is a humanoid owl, who, for the most part, resembles a snowy owl in general like plumage, but she comes over and she immediately begins apologizing. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I hope you guys are all okay. I'm Thank you for dealing with the trunk gone Matt." She like shrugs. She's like, I don't know what happened. Normally the people at the Rose stage keep good eye on their trunks, but we've never seen one turn into magic before. And she like, "Oh, your injuries." And she like reaches into her pouch and she pulls out a potion of healing for each of you, and she passes them out. Feel free to use these if you need. If you don't, keep them. You guys did a really, really nice thing, helping your fellow students escape and dealing with it. After all, I must say I'm very impressed.
I'm just glad nothing untoward happened to anyone else.
Yeah, hopefully the rest of the student body is okay.
Whittle says, "No problem, sweet cheeks," before going to stomp the shit out of the chest. If Dustin were here, he'd probably get Croak to do it with him too.
You don't need to kick an inanimate object. It's gone. It won't come back to life, no matter how many
Who said
times you
anything
kick
about
it.
I don't know. Keep kicking, see what happens.
Oh God.
Mavinda, like she reaches one of her winged arms out and like attempts to like gesture for you, Oodle, to step back. Says,
He takes one good last kick and back.
she nods. I understand. It seemed I wish I could have made it over there sooner, but the safety of the rest of the students, once I saw you guys had it in hand, became priority. I hope everyone's all right. And she like checks each of you. Oodle, did you drink the potion of healing she gave you, or?
No, not yet. Oodle's still on the fence about it. Yeah, we said before that these burns would heal over like a long rest, right?
Yeah, if you take a
That's if
long
you
rest,
sleep
your
3
wounds
hours.
would heal. Yeah. So like right now, you're like on the verge of unconsciousness, and yet you are continuing to fight through the pain. She like looks you up and down, Oodle, like you're the most visibly injured, and perhaps the only person injured out of this whole thing, and you're the fact that you're like, yeah, let's continue. She kind of like, you see a moment of like apprehension and like, okay, all right, a little shocked, but you do you.
Oodle says to her, "I've been through worse. I've been to Woodstock."
I've been through worse. I live with it.
And I went to Hootstock. What's your point?
Oh goodness. God.
Jesus.
I think Oodle immediately falls for her when she says that. Starts blushing real hard.
Do you just turn darker green, or?
So Mavinda, just for the moment, it's just you can tell she's just trying to make sure that you guys are the only ones left, that you guys are okay. Is there anything else you guys wanted to do in regards to the chest, to regards to what's going on?
I'll inspect the chest if, like, I know that she did it for looking at an Arcana check.
Okay.
No one's doing anything else, I'll check it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask her some questions.
Make an investigation check, and then
Sure.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Well, so Nithlia is gonna kind of go up to her and just. So have you heard from any of the faculty as to why or how this might have happened at all?
No, we've had no idea that one of the chests from the Rose stage had A, gone missing, or B, found their way here into the Biblioplex. We were quite surprised, and we're not quite sure how it happened, as there's no magic involved at the Rose stage on a level that would make a mimic appear. And she, like, you can see her, like, preening her feathers a little bit, like, in, like, a moment where, like, one would normally scratch their head. You kind of get the impression that she's, like, preening her feathers to give a moment to think. And she notices, Ayland, as you're looking over it, the only thing that stands out to you about the chest, since it is empty, is this, like, black oily substance that Nithli had noticed before. And as you, like, put your hands on it briefly just to get an idea of what it is, and that's what gives you the clue that it's oily. Mavinda, like, turns her head and is like, my best guess is that it's a tonic meant to keep the leather from hardening.
I'm going to put my pinky on it and sort of, like, feel it between the pinky and the thumb to see that oily texture, and then I can't. Right.
You've
I
got
try and
like,
smell it,
Ayland,
but realize I don't breathe, so it seems hard to do that. So, like, right, okay, and
what does it look like with somebody who doesn't breathe tries to
well, it's
inhale?
like he's just like, he goes up to his nose thinking that he can, and then realizes that he doesn't need to, so he has never actually cognitively thought about doing it before. And
it's like when you think about breathing, so you start noticing how you're breathing.
Yeah, but it's like I'm thinking about breathing and realizing I don't. So I'm like,
no one's ever told me what the act of breathing in and breathing out really is.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can taste. Wait a minute.
Aelin, you never snorted an illegal substance?
Do you eat? What? Illegal? What about?
I'm fairly new at this, so.
She notices that you're kind of still inspecting the tonic, and she's like, if there was anybody that could identify such a substance, you'd probably need to search out the teacher of Arcana Herbology.
Arcana Herbology.
Yes.
Ooh, herbology.
Yes. Her name is Firaxis Dirt Grotto.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Okay. 4-axis dirt.
Grotto?
Dirt Grotto. I'm spelling it out here for you.
Dirt Grotto.
Man, I hope they didn't get bullied when they were growing up.
I don't know. There's some really
she's a very kind elven lady. She's a druid of sorts.
I'm saying that out of character.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Okay.
Mavinda's, like, explaining who she is so that you know who you're looking for. She mostly spends her time watching over the mischievous students who are assigned to the detention bog, the aptly named detention bog, where she resides. I will secure for you.
I spelled it right. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. Listen, some names are, very on the nose of exactly how it's spelled, and other ones you've got special H's and P's and T's
I
and
thought
I's.
there might be a PH at the beginning or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Elves.
Yeah.
But she nods and she says, "I will get you guys a writ of passage so that you can see her, and perhaps if you do feel as strongly as you do about the substance being not what it is, she would be one that could help you."
Well, I will go into my pocket and I'll pull out like a handkerchief or something like that, and I will try and take up as much of that oil as I can and have it soaked into, or at least it's stained the cloth.
So Aelin, you put your cloth to it, and very quickly, you watch as this oily substance just almost as if it just naturally took. Just you find your handkerchief very oily. Though when you try and wring it out, it doesn't seem to wring out very well.
Well, that's interesting.
But what you do notice is if there was any odd stitching to the to your handkerchief, or any wear and tear, it seems to have mended the cloth, the stitchings. So if there was a loose stitch or anything like that seems to have gone missing. But there's not really any magical essence left in it. It just seems to have been whatever residue was there, it just mended your handkerchief. But not in on a noticeable level. It's one of those things where you're oh yeah, no, it's one of those things where maybe one of them had pilled, one of the threads had just pilled out slightly where it was stuck out, and you're I wish I could fix this because it's the only thing that doesn't look right on my handkerchief. And all of a sudden it's wait, no, my handkerchief looks nice now. But nobody would ever notice.
In all honesty, it's not really my handkerchief, so we'll get into that. But
well, needless to say, it seems to have taken to your handkerchief quite easily.
Okay. Well, I don't know where I'm gonna put this thing. I'll hold on to it for the moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just make a note that you have a handkerchief coated in tonic. That's probably the easiest way to. Now, when you're searching for Axis, you'd want to be looking out for a small wooden hut. It's only a single story, and it's not very big. She likes to keep her lodgings quite small. But sometimes you can see a bluish or greenish light coming from her house, Mavinda explains. Because she does any of her alchemic testing on her arcanoherbology via her basement hut. So just be on the lookout for flashes of blue and green, and you'll be on the right track. But she scratches her head. She's I've not really spent much time in the detention bog, and I am Silverquill, so it might be best if you get somebody from Witherbloom to guide you.
Well, my question to you right now is, what are we supposed to be doing next? Is it a break now? Is there something else we need to take care of before we adjourn for the day? I'm not really sure what's.
Well, given the last little scare that we had, and the day beginning to reach its end, most of the students are to be dismissed back to their dorms for the rest of the evening. You, of course, are welcome if you wish to head out to Witherbloom now. I can provide.
Have we been assigned dorms?
Yes, you are part of the central commons here upon near the Biblioplex.
Oh, okay.
As first-year students, everyone is provided the common rooms until you are sorted in your second year to your college of choice.
Yeah, it makes sense actually to be sorted after first year of sort of getting acclimated to things, getting sorted right away would be horrible.
Yes, what kind of wizarding school would ever sort you right off the hop?
Yeah, exactly. Like they know exactly what you're gonna be right off the hop. It doesn't make any sense.
And it's rife with the possibility of corruption. Wishing to be in a different college, and even though you'd very clearly be perfect for one of the other ones. We wouldn't ever want that. We want people to be able to choose of their own free will, even if it wouldn't be their most optimal choice.
You said it was in the where was it? It was the detention bog. You said
Yes, within the Witherbloom College facilities, there is a bog that they often use for study. It also serves as a place for mischievous students to serve their detention, fetching ingredients, feeding the creatures of the bog, and so on. It helps the students learn what is and isn't acceptable. She smiles as kindly as she can, but you can tell there's a bit of disdain for that kind of treatment. Oodle, especially with you having been invited from Silverquill, along with you, Nithlia, you guys get the sense that she would much prefer having miscreants write like an essay on their wrongdoings and like why what they did was wrong, rather than like physically punishing them to like slime and bile in a bog. Just doesn't sit right with her. But she ruffles her feathers briefly and says, "Well, if you would like, we can get one of the professors to bring you to your common rooms for the evening. If not, I can go and fetch you the writ of passage to head to the Witherbloom campus whenever you please."
well, you did say it was getting late in the day.
Yeah, you can see already like out through the big front hallway like opening. Like you can already see the sun is starting to set and that it's probably like 8 or 9 p.m.
Yes. What do you guys think? Do you want to take a look at this maybe tomorrow? I don't know what the schedule is going to be like for here.
Well, and Mavinda nods. She says, "You don't have to worry. Other than getting your courses enrolled for your first year, this week is purely an orientation. Next week, however, your courses will start in earnest. So I suggest, after you get some well-deserved rest, that you take a look into your enrollments and figure out what courses you plan on taking this year, so that next week you can get off on the right foot." And she like smiles, and you get the impression like this might be the kind of job she normally handles, is getting like students like enrolled and set up for the courses that they need. Because you're getting very like guidance counselor vibes from her, despite her not having introduced herself.
You didn't give her name yet?
Yes, she introduced
Okay.
herself as Mavinda Sharpbeak.
Mavinda Sharpbeak. Okay, that's what
Mavinda.
Mavinda.
Mavinda Sharpbeak. And she is a
Oodle's gonna ask, "Hey, Miss Foul Owl, did anyone name that chest?"
Name it. It's not moving anymore.
Yeah, but did it like happen before it died?
I don't believe it had a name other than it belonged to the Rose Stage and will be returned to the Rose Stage shortly. And you can tell she's got like a bit of disdain in her voice now.
Okay, Charlie the chest.
Yes, Charlie the Chest will be returned to the Rose Stage very, very shortly.
Charlie.
Any other
Let's put him on the
questions?
Sheldon.
Oh, they bit my finger. Right, got it.
Charlie, he bit me. He bit me, Charlie. Okay. She,
Great.
you can see her like claps her hands together joyfully and says, "Great. Well, then I will be off, and you all have a great rest. You should each have within your backpacks for arriving upon campus a small scroll that will return you to your common room as needed. Um, so be sure to use that when you wish to return to take a good rest, and we will see you all very, very shortly." She smiles and nods, and with that, she like flaps her shoulders briefly, and her feathers kind of rustle, and she turns around and heads, making her way out of the building.
Oodle.
Oodle.
His mic turned off again.
Okay.
Sorry, what happened?
Well, you were saying Oodle was going to do something, and then you went quiet.
Oh, I guess Oodle whispers quietly
Oh, okay.
to her.
What do you whisper quietly to her?
Does that not picking through? He whispers, "I love you."
Okay. How quiet are you being with that?
So quiet we can even hear it.
Only if you're pretty much standing next to him. So she has some kind of super hearing for sure.
Okay.
But like,
Make a stealth check for me.
that's under my ability.
Yep. So when you look at your character sheet on the first page, it should be under the core section of your character sheet. There you go. Yeah. You may have intended it to be a whisper, but with the giant echoing halls and the fact that there's like no student noise to mute you anymore, comparatively, it comes through clear as day. As everyone else, you hear the words "I love you" echo around, and she like smiles and blushes for a moment, despite her visibly aged appearance. She says,
Bird-like appearance.
"Yeah." She smiles and nods and says, "Thank you, Oodle. I hope that I can only provide a most wonderful experience for you here on campus. Please do not hesitate to come see me if you have any questions."
Oh, I won't.
She nods, and the old
Hesitate.
elderly Mavinda makes her exit. I don't know why I said old. I meant to say the elderly owlet, but I just, anyways, old and elderly are the same freaking word. Okay. So you guys each, when you guys like take a look in your backpacks, or at some point, when you rummage through your backpacks, you do find that the scroll that was part of your guys's like invitation to Strixhaven also serves as your pass to reach the common room. And it indicates here on the scrolls that if you were to go to the entrance of the biblioplex and utter the location that you wish to go, in this case being the Central Commons, you would be teleported to the Central Commons.
Well, okay. Just a question for the rest of you. Have any of you eaten anything today? It's 9:00 at night, and we're just like about to end our day.
I ate a shit ton of berries of what feels like to go.
I can't say I recall the last time I ate anything.
You guys look over at Croak, and Croak is like in the middle of shoveling in some like stale bread. Huh?
I think we might need to get some food before. I wonder if the common room actually has any food right. From my memories, do I recall anything about what's in the common room other than just a
Make a
place
history
to
check
live?
for me.
All right. Oh,
You're pretty
Misfire.
sure there's a cafeteria, but like you're not sure if that's like on the common grounds or if you're mixing that up with the cafeteria you visited earlier today.
Right. Yeah, misfire. Right. Okay. Yeah.
But you're pretty confident.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe. Well, I think we should take Oodle here and get him some rest so that he can heal up from his encounters today.
Okay.
Never hear my heart eternal
Yeah.
star in it.
We've been hearing the Zelda danger music for the last like 7 hours. All right. If there's
How many hit points does Oodle have left?
Oodle's been at 1 hit point out of his 8 since he put his hand inside the mana font multiple times.
Right.
Do I lose those extra 5 points?
What's that?
Oh, that's gone now.
That's gone now?
Yeah, your temporary hit points. It's past an hour, I think is what it was.
Oh.
I think yeah.
Because basically you got it every 6 seconds for an hour. Or is it an hour or a minute?
Instantaneous. Let's see. There's some mockery. Nope. Here it was lasts for a minute.
Okay, so yeah,
So it was gone
for 10 turns. It lasted, but yeah, while you were busy hitting on Mavinda, you felt all of a sudden less heroic.
Well, yeah, the fear finally took him.
Yeah, it's like you're like, I love you. You're like, that was awkwardly loud.
I should use my inspiration for that. I lose that, right, if I don't use it?
Nope. You hold on to it until you cash it in to use it. Oh, sorry, Bardic Inspiration? Inspiration or Bardic Inspiration?
Bardic Inspiration.
No, I think he has actual Inspiration.
Oh, he has actual Inspiration as well? Okay.
Pretty sure he did. Yeah, he does. Yeah, no, regular Inspiration does not expire. You just hold on to it until you want to use it, and then you mark it off.
Let's see.
Whereas Bardic Inspiration is something granted by the Bard, and after a certain period of time, does wear off. But you guys all.
I was looking for how long that takes before it dies out. Oh, 10 minutes is how long it lasts.
Yeah.
There we go.
So you all find yourself now at the entrance to the Biblioplex. You know that there is a cafeteria just inside. If you did want to stop by and meet Isla again for some grub, or if you wanted to head back to the commons to grab some grub from your common room cafeteria.
What does everyone think?
I want to eat.
So here or common room, do you think?
Well, if the rest of the week is orientation, doesn't matter if we come here to eat and then go to sleep.
Fair enough.
I'm in.
Well, then let's. Ooh. What seems to have gotten your attention?
The cafeteria.
Okay.
You guys were just there. I just moved you outside of it for the moment.
I went back in because I'm hungry.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
Your stomach starts grumbling as you leave the. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, you're like, maybe we should go to the common. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a harrowing first day so far. So
Yes, Nithlia, as you walk back in, the smell of a something akin to like a French onion soup or something equivalent reaches your nose. Is very, very delicious smelling. Um, but you can like smell it wafting all the way over from the cafeteria as you hear a couple of students, and you can see all over here in the B3 area, like there are quite a few students who have now like kind of filtered back in now that the crisis was averted. And Isla waves over to you and saying, "Would you like some grub?"
Oh my god, yes, please.
Come for the heroes of the day, and she like puts a
To the
giant
left, to the
bowl.
right.
What's that?
Okay. There's two people in here. Do I go to
Oh,
the one on
sorry.
the left?
Isla's
Go
over
to the
here.
one. Okay, thank
This is
you.
the one on the left is the store. Sorry, that's my fault
Okay.
for not.
But that's
You were
okay.
you
I
weren't
just wanted
you weren't here during the last session, or you fell asleep at the point after when they came here for a clue. So I apologize. I forgot about that. That's my fault. So Ayland,
that's my fault for falling asleep.
I mean like my fault for forgetting as to who knew what is what I meant, but you're all good. Oodle, Ayland, you guys see Nithlia walk back in, and shortly thereafter, the same delicious smell of food wafts across your nostrils, and you can see large bowls of this soup, stew, like French onion chowder is like wafting over from the cafeteria, and Isla is like pulled out a big bowl for Nithlia to chow on.
Hmm.
She sees you guys and like gestures for you guys to come over and get a bowl of your own.
I'll go over, but I'm still having issues here at the moment. I think mentally, I'm just thinking through this. Like, it'd be interesting, and I will take the bowl and follow Nithlia to wherever she's about to sit.
For sure. Oodle, what about yourself?
Mid-drink there.
You what?
Yeah, Oodle runs up quickly and grabs the bowl. He does politely say no.
She nods. She says, "No problem, sugar. And I'm sorry about earlier. Just she like gestures to a marriage ring that she has on her finger. I just don't take kindly to being hit on when it's not my husband."
Oh, yeah.
I forgot you hit on her too. All right.
Wait, who is this that's talking?
This is the cafeteria lady you hit on before, and she like basically told you no scavenger hunt for you because you were being
Oh,
extremely aggressive in your flirting.
right. You got me.
And then you were like, "Fine then," and you like left.
I say, oh, you know what?
I found a truer
Husband's a
love.
your husband's a very.
Your husband's a very lucky man. Is that what you just said?
I like to think so. She jokes. Um, and she just like slides the bowl over the counter to you. Like when you pick it up, it's like a 2 foot wide bowl that's like maybe like 7 or 8 inches deep, and it's filled to the brim with this rich, fragrant chowder, and it looks to be filled with all sorts of vegetables and different like uh, uh, not like chunks of meat, but just like various ingredients. She never asked about if anybody was like vegetarian or anything, so I didn't think to ask that myself. But if you guys all sit down, you guys begin to chow down into what is a delicious meal.
Well, this is where the problem starts. I'm
looking the other two think.
Yeah, looking at this thing, I'm thinking, I'm watching them eat first, and then I'm gonna do what they do, and see if I get anything out of this. Because I don't need to, so it's a little strange.
Hey, Aelin, I get the nod.
Say it again.
Aelin, like
You and then it cut out.
Is it there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's your microphone's cutting out, I guess, because your voice is dropping too quietly or something. I'm not sure.
Odal just basically asked. No, I get that you, but is there a way to fit to your body?
Is there a way for what to your body?
Is there a way for the waste to exit? Well, that's the thing. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I'm sitting here right across from you. I see this bowl of food, and I have no need for it. So, waste implies that there be something being ingested or brought into the body to actually use. I don't need it. Trying to remember how to smell because I don't need to breathe either. This is there's more of a mental problem right now with my character than I realized at this very moment. There's a loss that I never thought anything of until this very struggle here. Oh, that's funny.
I mean, what if you just try one little spoonful?
Oh yeah, I can definitely. I will definitely try something.
I'm imagining you like take the spoon, put it in your mouth, and just start chewing before you're taking the spoon out.
Yeah, is that possibility? I mean, I get the gesture. I can remember the motion.
How do I manipulate my lips to slide the food off the spoon?
Well, here's the other thing. I'm not even certain if I have organs. Right? That's the kind of thing I'm trying to figure out right now. My brain is like, what am I? This is more of an existential problem than you realize at this point.
After what is a surprisingly long period of existential crisis, Aelin, you hear a familiar voice that speaks up after a few moments, and she, this gnome, who you've seen before, is wearing a black robing with white striped armbands, and she's got a white cap on, and she gestures to the three of you with a wave and says, "Hey guys, it's been a while. How are you guys doing?" As Rosie makes her way over.
Oh, I think she's a halfling.
Still completely forgets, and she's just like, "Who's that?"
Yeah,
she's just like,
Rosie's a gnome, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. She bumped into us in our first
roughly around where you saw the mimic, actually.
Yeah, approximately. Yeah.
But she was on her way to a silk ball match to referee. And
No, sorry, it doesn't ring a bell. I think I was thinking about some flowers.
oh, no worries. It's good to see you guys are
I
all
killed a
doing well.
chest.
You killed a what?
A chest.
I heard about that. You guys sound like heroes. I wish I'd been there. I would have
Oh,
given a hand. I guarantee it.
Well, luckily you weren't there, so you got to remain safe, just like everybody else.
You can see she's like standing with her large bowl that is wider than she is.
Would you like to sit with us?
Are you sure?
Oh, by all means, this room.
She like looks to Ayland and Oodle as well.
By all means.
yeah, I'm okay with it. As
And
long
like
as there's
as you
normally
say,
more
yeah,
like
I'm clunk. Her bowl splatters onto the table, a little bit roughly maybe at first. She's like, "Go well, I am famished. It's it's so good to be sitting with someone you recognize rather than." And she like looks around at like all these students, some of them with their hoods up, who've been like generally like looking over at Ayland as he mentions that he's not sure how to eat. Um, she like smiles. She's like, "It's always better to eat with friends." And she like grabs a giant spoonful and shovels it into her mouth. She's like, "I always do love the chowder."
Mm,
I do
Powder.
apologize if I was interrupting.
Oh, no interruption. Just it's good to have a break from the mental anguish that is living, it seems. So, yeah, everything's good.
We're all
yeah,
we're all
everything's
just enjoying a good meal.
Well, don't allow me to keep you from eating. And she like grabs another spoonful and unawarely of her comment begins to just start chowing down.
Can I sprinkle like some flower petals in my soup?
Absolutely.
Sweet. So Nithlia
Oodles.
kind of just sprinkles petals over her soup and starts eating.
Does that
Oodles
add
gonna
to the flavor?
It's good for your health.
Gotta eat your greens. And she like, you can see she like fishes out a particularly large chunk of vegetables. She like shovels them into her mouth.
I like her.
Oodles gonna start taking some of that porridge and then pouring it into Hector's mouth through like a little cubby hidden in the bag.
Porridge? I'm sorry. It's like a stew and you're like porridge?
He just made some porridge at the table.
Yeah, Jesus.
no, he's gonna give some Hector some stew, not which will probably get some looks from everybody else. But
Yeah,
he's
no doubt as you hear, what are you doing? As you essentially hear the sound of somebody being waterboarded.
My goodness.
the bag. It makes noise.
Rosie like looks over at the bag that you have on her side that you're pouring this into. She's like, I. She shakes her head. Uh, I don't think it's a good idea to ask. Um, well, did you guys want me to grab the rest of the meal and then we can kind of sit and talk about the day? Or did you guys have plans after this?
Um, it's the only plans we had was heading to the common room eventually, but that's I don't know what that entails at this moment.
Oh, okay. Uh, no worries. I've got to go and register for my courses too. Still got a few more to decide between. What did you guys decide on? Or have you decided yet?
Not really. think I've only
Right.
just been thinking about the garden here.
She nods.
Do you have an idea of what the courses are like here?
Yes. If you'd like, I can go over them for you.
It'd probably be easier to hear from you than some of the teachers.
So, everyone starts with magical physiologies. We all have to take that course, unfortunately. Much as I find myself at times struggling with it, it's necessary for a silk ball referee like me to understand how magic affects the body of all types of beings. Um, there's one called Arcanobotany for Beginners by the Witherbloom campus that I'm not very familiar with the whole herbalism and everything, but I thought might be worth a try, especially when it came to like making poultices to heal wounds and the like. Um, there's a basic magical auras, but it's kind of outside my familiarity. That one's just held here in the common room campus. Um, Quandrix has a computational magic course that they're running. I have relied on their studies in the past for things like um, how scores affect the course of a game, and the effects of a comeback onto players' morale and that and the like. She like nods as if anybody else would understand what she's talking about.
It sounds like you're a betting woman.
She shakes her head. No, as a referee, that would be very disgraceful of me. But rather, it's interesting when you think about how when your team is down in points and then begins to make its way back towards the lead, how differently the energy in the field and the course is. So I thought it might be interesting for me. And then and she like notices for Nithlia and for Oodle, and she notices like the silver quill um invited, like the pin for those who have been invited by Silver Quill. And she says for Silver Quill students, there's an Incomancy course. It's the beginner's Incomancy, which would probably be of interest to those of you entering Silver Quill's campus next year. Um, the Prismari are having a little bit of a magic and art history course that they're running this year. I've heard good things from my upperclassmen, but I haven't the slightest on how that would be of any use to me. She like scratches her head. And then Lowerhold has an archaeomancy introduction to, how the ruins of magic and how the old can affect the new, and why playing in old stadiums can sometimes bring out the best in some players, and newer stadiums can bring out the worst in players not familiar with them. And she like shakes. So those were kind of what I was thinking. I know that you're supposed to pick, and she thinks for a moment. I think you're supposed to take at least 3 courses in addition to the magical physiologies. So no matter what, you're probably going to be a little bit specialized. And so just to kind of take it outside of the game for a moment, just so that you guys are aware. So you guys do pick 3 courses as well as a course called Magical Physiologies. Those 3 courses, you will run into events and things related to those courses throughout the year. They will give you advantages to certain events and situations. You will get benefits from related skills that are affected by these courses, along with just a general improvement of like relationships within those school campuses. So like if you take the Witherbloom class, the teachers will generally be more kindly towards you because they're more familiar with you and so on. So it's not like it's super mandatory to like pick the ideal courses for yourself, as they don't really like provide like a +1 to anything or anything like that. But I will share the schedule here with you guys so you guys can see what it looks like here. Add a handout. So there we are. So you guys should have each seen that pop up.
Yeah.
If you don't want to decide, you can just roll 3d6 and see what it gives you. If you roll the same one twice, it just means you'll take a different class of the same college. But these are some suggestions for courses that you could take throughout the year that would give you some sort of leg up on the rest of the year.
Only choose 3, eh?
Yes, that plus magical physiology. Well, you can do more. It just means you may run out of time for other extracurriculars or a job. After all, these courses will have homework, Rosie quips.
We have nothing but time, do we?
She nods, it goes quick before you know it. She nods, this is my second semester here. I joined on a scholarship for the Silk Ball intramurals. They brought me in as a referee last semester. I haven't actually fully finished my first year courses, which is why I'm still enrolling in some, but I'm looking forward to joining some of your guys' courses. And she like smiles. And you like get the impression that she's not the greatest academic student, but her like phys ed scores are probably through the roof.
Sorry, so this not this, but Roll20 kind of froze up for me for a second. Is it the student schedules that we're supposed to look
the student schedules, yeah.
Okay. And just like out of character, if you come up with an idea for a course you would want to take that isn't like outside the realm of something that would be a course they provide, I can also put that down as your course. It just means I'll have to look into what kind of things the course might provide.
I'm just wondering if there's ways of doing courses without actually going into the class. Just getting that extra one.
You may like. Do you bring this up like to Rosie, who's?
Yeah, say that out loud. I was just
so Rosie like thinks for a moment. She's like, "So you want to do like a distant learning, like a course by wire?
Yes, something.
Study
like
from home.
Yeah, something like that. I wonder if it's possible.
I could ask around. I'm not.
You wouldn't believe how much time there is in the day when you don't need to eat or, well, actually sleep either.
You say that, and she like for the first moment like realizes that there's still a full bowl of food sitting in front of you. She's like, if you're not gonna eat, She like
I just didn't want to be impolite by not taking it, and it's.
she looks at the other two like if they want it.
I mean, I'll offer to whoever.
Oodle's face goes directly into the bowl, and he's just lapping it up.
So you go to stick your face in the bowl, and you can see Rosie's like a step ahead of you as she grabs the bowl and slides out of the way, and all you hear is wham as your face just full on into desk. And then she just gives a giggle.
That was my last hit point. Oodle's dead.
His last hit point, he goes unconscious, and that's it. So, oh damn. Let's see. What was the one for healing? Oh, magical physiologies is the one we need to learn about that for the.
Well, Witherbloom's Arcanobotany or Arcanoherbology, they would be the ones that would teach you how to make like healing potions and the like. So that's why I was thinking of taking that course, but.
And then there's the magical auras. Is
I believe that one mostly focuses on like buffs and like how like bardic inspiration works and like how someone becomes like improved through the act of magical reinforcement.
I can see that being helpful.
Yes, I find it's almost necessary for me because a lot of the Silk Ball players, unfortunately, really like to enhance their own abilities. So better understanding exactly how that works and who might be cheating instead is why I think I'm taking that course this year. She like scratches her head absent-mindedly. And she like Oodle, you like look over and Rosie's like pouring half of Aylin's bowl into yours, and then she like begins to drink her half. Well, you don't have to decide today. I think you have till the end of the week to decide your courses. Just make sure to let the guidance counselor know for the campus. Mavinda, I think her name is.
Who is the guidance counselor? Who was that?
Mavinda, I think her name is.
Yeah, we've met her.
Oh, you have? She's a wonderful lady.
Some of us like her more than others. And I look over at Oodle.
How do you respond, Oodle?
He's unconscious, remember?
Man, if that's how I take 1 HP of damage in real life, that's
Yeah.
Sorry, that's me today. I had to step away for a second. Sorry, what happened?
No worries. Rosie split the chowder with you after pulling it away from you, and she was just she was mentioning that the person you guys have to go and bring your course selections to is Mavinda. And Aylin had said that some people liked her more than others, and he looked over at you, and so Rosie like followed his head tilt to your direction. How do you respond?
Oodle uncharacteristically kind of stumbles over his words and goes, thanks for this too. I'm just going to. And he continues eating the stew.
She like tilts her head, and it's like it looks at the rest of you. Okay. Just begins begins finishing her bowl. And she looks at the rest of you having finished, and she says, well, after a good day of refereeing and a good hearty meal in my belly, I think I should make my way to the common room myself. I don't mean to keep all of your time to my own.
Oh, thank you for your help, though, in terms of your experience so far within the school, where we are looking to go in the future.
You're more than welcome. I did mean it when I said I'm looking forward to taking courses and everything with you guys. I would be remiss if you guys decided to do something beyond. She scratches her chin for a moment. I just want to spend time with my friends, even in courses. I find it's much better. And she sits up, takes the bowl back over to Isla over in the cafeteria's kitchen, and she returns her bowl, and then comes back and she bows curtly, says, I hope you all have a great evening, and we'll see you next week. Or, if I'm lucky, sometime soon. She smiles.
I wave as she leaves. What was that, Oodle?
Oh, just Oodle smiles back.
Did Nithlia enjoy her stew?
I mean, I guess. Sure.
Okay.
It's a little late on my end, guys. I'm gonna go.
Yeah. We're just finishing for the. Oh, okay.
Well, I'm dying. I'm dying.
I understand.
So I'm going to go.
Have a good night. Yep. And with that, Rosie heads off to the commons. Did you guys just want to go head there with her? Or?
I think that's probably best if we just head out to the common room and we can discuss what we're... Well, the events of the day and figure out what the hell we're supposed to do.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with.
Okay. All right. So Rosie gets up, brings the bowl over, places it down, sees the rest of you are getting up from the table, and she says, "Oh, did you want to go together then?" And she, I said, "Follow me." And so she leads you guys back outside, where you can see that there's actually a small little circle drawn on the steps to the biblioplex, and she pulls out her scroll, stands in the circle, and says, "Central common rooms, 4." And just a moment later, all 4 of you feel a thrum of magic in your backpacks or wherever you've stashed your scrolls, as the magic runs a loop around each of you, and then you find yourselves now in front of a fairly ridiculously large castle-like building. When you look around, you can see in the distance the biblioplex's 3-storied building, a little ways away, and there are steps leading up and into the central commons. And Rosie begins scampering up the stairs and says, "Last one of their common rooms, the rotten egg," and she like bolts up the stairs.
Oh, that was a good call. Oodle starts scampering upstairs too.
Okay. Make an athletics check for me.
Athletics?
Yep.
After seeing them both start, I sort of like shrug to myself and chase after them.
Despite her small stature, you see Rosie bounding the stairs 3 at a time, just hop, 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 just bouncing up the stairs. And you're noticing, as this is the first time you've been in an area, especially a commons room, but the stairs themselves seem to like shift and lower to be an easier slope for her. And you're finding like every step that you're taking isn't a difficult one, despite how steep the original steps looked. Like every step, it's been like, and you guys kind of see this for each person. They're like adjusting to fit each person's gait and height. And before long, like the stairs, they spiral up, and you see that they split off into different areas. And Rosie splits off to one side, and as you guys reach there, the pathway she took twists to lead you to what you can only assume to be the male common room, or another area of the common rooms. As Nithlia joins Rosie over on the other platform, and she waves back to you, Oodle, and says, "Haha, I win! I'll see you tomorrow, or whatever's next."
So what is this interior like?
So I'm trying not to make too many references to it to avoid thing, but I think this is just, it's easier to explain. Like in Harry Potter, how like the stairs and everything like move to shift to accommodate people. It basically
Right.
like the stairs and everything lines up to lead you to the room that belongs to your common room. So like you each find yourselves like over the course of various flights of stairs, eventually splitting off. Like when you guys try and take the same stairs, at one point it like splits in half and forks you down 2 different staircases, and so you find yourself like as you climb up, eventually reaching a room that is only, or that is most obviously intended for you and potentially one other person. As you open Ayland, and you can see that there is what looks to be like a double bunk bed, but like yours is on the bottom floor, or bottom like of the room, and then you can see like there is a magical step that leads up to a second raised area where another bed is located, but it doesn't look like you have um, a roommate yet. At least it doesn't show any signs that anybody's been moved in. Oodle, on the other hand, you find your way up to your room, and as when you open the door, you see that on the bottom bunk, on the bottom bed, you see a familiar orc reading a book, laying in bed. And he looks over to you and he says, "Wait, don't I know you?" And you look back at
Nah, this is the first time we've ever met.
you look back at Urs McTalk, um, who you remember from the garden where the stare down between him and Barry occurred.
Nope, first time we've ever met. Yep.
Okay, make a deception check for me. you could tell, like, you see his eyebrow cock for a moment, and then he shrugs his shoulders. I figured you'd probably prefer the more rebellious upper floor. Just please try and leave me to my own devices, and we should get along just fine.
As long as you don't say stuff like rebellious upper floor ever again.
And here I thought you had a flair for theatrics.
Theatrics are entertaining.
He smirks.
I guess I smirk right back. And that's the relationship. Da, 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 da.
Get first ship, boys.
So, I think we'll probably call it there. Obviously, since now we're Nithlia having gone to sleep and everybody else having gone to sleep, we will look into getting you guys set up with what courses you guys are signing up for when we come back next time. So feel free to give that a thought. Maybe take a picture or make note of the schedules so that you have an idea of what courses you're going to take, and we'll get you guys signed up for those next session, or when you guys make your way to meet Mavinda after the fact.
Okay, so any of those 6 we have to choose 3 of.
Choose 3 of the 6 there, plus you're going to have magical physiologies. That's a mandatory 7th course, or mandatory 4th course.
And then you said we can also go above those, or we can not make up one of our own, but make up one of our own within region.
Yeah, so you can go above those or make up one of your own after discussing it with me, but it has no tangible effect on you other than you have an extra exam you have to take at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So the first 3 have a benefit to them when it comes to taking courses. The 4th one is mandatory, and then anything beyond that is completely up to you and has no like discernible or tangible benefit that is currently been defined.
But like one of those 3 could be the one that we make up. Not that we
yeah, it can. Just run it by me so that, because like, you know, how to turn people into toads 101 might not be a course, but transmutation 101 might be. Things like that.
Udo only pays attention to how to turn his annoying roommate into a toad 101.
And that's up to you. Alright guys, I'm gonna log off, and thanks for playing. I hope